Ridler, and I welcome you here, sir, and thank you very much for coming straight in and agreeing to present. It's a pretty straightforward process, 10 minutes. I'll whack the bell with a couple of minutes left, and if you wish us to ask you questions, please allow for that within your time.
Very
so
good.
You are the last submitter for the day, and
okay.
Thank you, sir, for turning up a bit early, and the time is yours.
Thank you, Mr Chairman. Good afternoon. Basically, my submission is that the Ruataniwha Dam project be immediately terminated, and the reasons for this are the same as in my original questioning of the scheme on the 14th of October 2012, except now there is a lot more evidence showing that that should be the case. In terms of the water, the Makaroro has variable flows which are insufficient to reliably irrigate the 25,000 hectares. The early report by Tonkin and Taylor recommended a 50-metre dam and 12,000 hectares. In terms of the supply, when Hawke's Bay Regional Council management team decided on an 80-metre dam, that's height, 50-metre and 80-metre height, Tonkin and Taylor commented it was feasible, presuming there is adequate water. David Painter, in his peer review of the Tonkin and Taylor report, had made the same point again. Despite many reports and considerable money, there is still conflicting opinion on this. I've handed out a bar graph. That is from David Leong's evidence to the Board of Inquiry. And just have a look at the blue bars. The red bars are another set of data. Hawke's Bay Regional Council Investment Company Business Case Executive Summary, Item 7, Attachment 1, page 5, stated, the dam will store high winter flows for irrigation. Yet when you have a look at that graph, you will see that the blue lines through the winter are the lowest and that the summer flows are the highest. This supports the Tonkin and Taylor report, which stated that 50% of this area rarely needs irrigating and on a cost benefit is not worth supplying water to. There are disagreements as to how much water and when it flows, and I'm sure you as councillors will have had a look at some of the other graphs which are different to that one. However, David Leong is the person from Tonkin and Taylor who decided that 91 million cubic metres of water would irrigate 17,120 hectares at the 86th percentile. Yet Hawke's Bay Regional Council Investment Company is now selling, or trying to sell, 104 million cubic metres from the same river to irrigate 25,000 hectares. And I haven't seen any further modelling on the reliability of that supply. The same report cautions of drier years, yet that's a Hawke's Bay Regional Council Investment Company report. A Hawke's Bay Regional Council SimClim report notes a plus 0.5 to 1% increase in rainfall through to 2050. In terms of the risks, the concrete face or a central rock fill. The central rock is cheaper. The Board of Inquiry want the concrete face because of the risk profiles. Even so, risks of dam break are present, as are cost overruns. Deloitte's quote, the contractor's bid price has been based on performance and specifications developed by Hawke's Bay Regional Council Investment Company and its advisors. If these are deficient, there is unlikely to be any recourse to the contractor for damages or compensation. So all the cost problems fall back on the investors. No, the risk profiles chart shows that it will be the ratepayers. In terms of the need for water, I've already mentioned that briefly. It's not proven, as Tonkin and Taylor have stated from the start. This means that the uptake will not exceed probably a maximum 50% of the sale volume currently being touted. In terms of the economics of the water, the farm economics did not complete a correct comparative analysis. They assumed the top 20% managers using irrigation would flock to the area at very optimistic responses in terms of what they were going to get for both the per cow production and the response to irrigation. In fact, those responses are not the top 20%, they are the top 1% of New Zealand farms. The alternatives of improved dryland systems were not investigated. A proper comparative analysis should look at what you can do with the existing resources in developing them better, and then look at what the added improvement will be from irrigation. In this case, the whole of all of the improvements that could be made were attributed solely to the irrigation. This greatly inflated the presumed benefits to the farmer and the region. The costs of conversion and dairying in this region with irrigation make it far cheaper to buy dairy farms elsewhere, and without dairy conversions, the uptake will be low of the water. It is the most water-greedy use of anything in terms of irrigation. Nitrates. I emphasised and was ignored, I believe, in my initial submission. I went through some quite detailed analysis in terms of on-farm nutrients. The limits set by the Board of Inquiry are similar to other regional councils. They're not out of kilter with them and can be met by adjusting current high inputs and using resources more efficiently. Increases in productivity can still occur. As Don Avery, the Marlborough dryland farmer, has said, you do not need to drain rivers to farm profitably. In terms of public money, both the BNZ Advisory Report September 2013 and Deloitte's recognise that public subsidy is required from ratepayers. The further the scheme falls short of the overly optimistic targets set, the more the ratepayer will pay. Two statements from that report. Subsidised capital required from Crown Irrigation Investment Company and HBRC, but also critically dependent on capital from parties seeking a commercial return. As this is not possible with a 50% uptake, the investors have vanished. And for good reason. As a second statement from Deloitte clearly states, there are still material elements of the RWSS to be finalised. It is likely that the final proposition will differ from that set out in the current business case. So after 5 years' work and millions of dollars spent by HBRC management team, they still cannot make a compelling case for the RWSS. That is because of water supply, risk, costs, lack of return to the farmer and investor, confusion over the areas irrigated, and the uptake. In my written one, there's a number of points made in terms of why did the area able to be irrigated from a dam on a very variable rainfall catchment increase from 17,000 to 25 to 30,000 hectares. However, I'll jump to what I also said in my original submission. That was to use seeding money to create a centre of excellence in dryland farming based around Onga Onga. Use local and New Zealand expertise, Dan Bloomer, David Manctillo, there's Paul down at Hokawa as well. There's a lot of it around in Hawke's Bay. Educate all ages, but specifically the younger students, and equip them with the knowledge to improve themselves, the region, and take the message on water conservation and food production to an ever more demanding world. The cost for this would have been less than the money already spent on what even Deloitte seem to sense is a confused jumble of unsubstantiated figures requiring considerably more work before they will make a recommendation. But I will make mine. I seek the following decision from the Council.
Two minutes.
Reject the proposal on the basis of the points I've made above. Immediately wind the project down and accept that none of the figures are of sufficient quality to undertake continuing. And if an alternative is seen as necessary, which I believe it is, provide new leadership and begin a more inclusive community process to provide alternatives with far less risk and far more prospects of developing the whole community. This will be through the pursuit of knowledge and understanding on the efficient use of scarce resources to provide products which will be in demand worldwide into the future. That is a vision that Paul Callaghan probably died with. I'm sure he died with, unfortunately. And it's something which I think a lot of people should actually go back and look at what he actually said. There's a nice YouTube of 3/4 of an hour dealing with it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Could I start with a question just on the graph you presented us with? It talks about a higher summer flow.
Yes.
But that's just an infill flow, isn't it?
Yes, it's infill.
So it's not. It doesn't. It's not guaranteeing reliability in the dam command area footprint. Is that correct?
It depends on the inflow. Is what I'm trying to show there is that the inflow is actually the rainfall within that catchment, which is lower in the winter months, according to David Leong, than in the summer months. Yet the case has been made that we need irrigation. So no, you're correct. The outflow will be different to that because the dam will contain some of the water and the outflow can be controlled. But what it does mean is that there is, according to David Leong, 6.7 metres per second coming into the dam as the mean. That is the one that's being disputed in terms of it could be between 4.5 and 6.7. It's a synthetic figure. It hasn't been made up from the rainfall from the actual catchment and the area of the catchment.
So can I just ask
one more question?
Supplementary question to that? So you're not saying that the dam won't fill up with water. You're saying that nobody will need, or not enough people will need to use the water because there's an increased summer rainfall.
Basically, the rainfall is variable. I don't believe that there is enough demand for the water for the 25,000 hectares. There will not be enough water coming into that dam to irrigate 25,000 hectares year in, year out. There will be some years, there won't be other years.
So you're saying the dam's not going to fill up consistently?
No, it won't. And that's what, if you have a look at Tonkin and Taylor's report as well, they show that there are years of deficit.
Thank you. I know we're out of time, guys.
Mr. Chairman, there's some factual things I think need some clarification. And I haven't asked a question all day.
I know you haven't. You've been very.
I had my hand up, but other people jumped.
One quick question, but I also make the point that Mr. Ridler will be here after this for anyone to ask questions for a little while, I'm assuming.
Well, thanks, Barry. Could you just please explain the difference between the red bar? What's the red bars?
The red is one which basically comes from a different way of doing it, and that is from another person who gave evidence to the Board of Inquiry. The red bars are from the amount of rainfall in the catchment, not a synthetic flow working backwards from the flow rates in the Tupituk, the Waipawa, and then into the Makarara.
Okay, and just secondly, is there a difference between the, if you like, the rainfall that contributes to the inflow to the proposed reservoir and the rainfall in the command area that's proposed to be irrigated? In other words, is there as much rainfall in the area proposed to be irrigated as there is in the area to be...
The NIWA report, which is in the Hawke's Bay Regional Council, one of the reports, said that the rainfall in the command area or the irrigated area varies between 900 in one particular segment through to 1,200, which is what Tonkin and Taylor picked up on, that basically if you've got 1,200 millimetres you don't need the water. In the catchment area itself, it varies according to NIWA. The latest figures from Hawke's Bay Regional Council were 1,400 to 1,800 millimetres. Now, if you multiplied that up by the catchment area, you're not going to get 200 million cubic metres inflow. You're only going to get between 140 and 180. In the driest year since 1937, there has been an inflow of only 78 million cubic metres. Coming back to your question, Peter, basically at 78 million, it gets nowhere near filling the dam.
Thank you. I'm just conscious that Sarah Gerard would have liked to have gone on a bit longer too, so I'll stop you there. But
thank you very much.
If anyone has any questions of any of the other submitters that are still here, please make use of your own free time and your own time, and I will call the hearing to an adjournment for today, and we'll reconvene tomorrow morning at 9 a.m.
Mr. Chairman, can you indicate what use, if anything, you're going to have used for the